There is a continent where time doesn't simply move forward, it coils back into circles of memory. Where the ancient isn't buried, but still alive, in stone, in temples, and in the eyes of its people. Where nature isn't still, but roars through volcanoes, breathes deep in the jungle, and melts slowly through icy rivers. This is the Americas. A land of beginnings, kishin, and unhealed fractures. From forgotten civilizations to cities born of hope and exile. Every landscape has a soul. Every soul, a legend waiting to be told. And this journey is your key to unlocking 1,000 worlds hidden within one continent. So tell me, where will you begin? With the echoes of Machu Picchu, the salt flats that mirror the sky, or the streets where salsa and sorrow dance hand in hand. Come with me, from north to south, across 20 untold stories, 20 heartbeats sync to the rhythm of this land. Your compass is curiosity. The map, rewritten with every step. And now, the journey begins. Argentina. A land of impossible boundaries. Of endless plains that vanish into the horizon. Of tango and burning hearts. In the south, Patagonia is slashed by ice-laden winds, where the air itself freezes at -40 degrees, and every breath crystallizes in a white void. But 3,000 kilometers to the north, the Earth scorches under the relentless sun. One country, two extremes. This is Argentina, a land where contrasts coexist, as fiercely as its spirit. The eighth largest country on the planet, Argentina stretches from tropical rainforests in the north, where the thunder of Iguazu Falls shakes the jungle, to the gentle pampas at its heart, the beating center of an agricultural giant. And farther still, southward into the wild winds and ancient ice of Patagonia. Here, nature reigns supreme. Aconcagua, South America's highest peak, tears through the clouds at nearly 7,000 meters. While Laguna del Carbon, the continent's deepest point, sinks 105 meters below sea level, a scar etched deep in the Earth's skin. Patagonia is also home to the bones of the largest creatures to ever walk the planet, dinosaurs. Locked in stone, colossal and silent, timeless witnesses to a world long gone. But Argentina is not only the cradle of ancient giants. It is the birthplace of tango, born in the dusty alleys of Buenos Aires, where desperate footsteps once told stories of longing, loss, and survival. Today, it stands as a UNESCO cultural treasure, yet its earliest melodies still echo from old cobblestones. And then, there are the gauchos, cowboys of the plains. They ride not just horses, but tradition itself. Each hoofbeat a reminder that this land was forged by grit and freedom. Here, mate is more than tea. It's a ritual, a quiet bond passed between strangers. Argentina is also the land of football fever. Here, the ball doesn't roll, it flies like fate. The Super Clasico can stop a nation with a single roar. And Maradona or Messi, they are more than athletes. They are living legends, rewriting the laws of the world's most beloved game. This is a land infused with Italian blood, European architecture, and a language uniquely its own, Castellano Rioplatense, soft, seductive, and unmistakably different. This is Argentina. Before dawn breaks, the mist still floats lazily among the treetops of the national park. Along the wooden pathway, the sound of water echoes from afar, deep, dense, and steadily growing louder. Iguazu Falls. Where water doesn't merely fall, it tells a legend. According to Guarani mythology, the serpent god Maboy was to marry Naipe, a breathtakingly beautiful maiden. But on the day of their wedding, she fled with Taraba, the warrior she truly loved. In a fit of rage, Maboy split the river in two, carving a colossal chasm. The lovers were cast into the falls, condemned to an eternal descent. And thus, the Iguazu Falls were born. Today, this land is part of Iguazu National Park, a shimmering ecological gem nestled in the Paraná rainforest, also known as the Upper Paraná Atlantic Forest. It is one of the most biologically diverse ecosystems in Argentina, where over 2,000 species of plants jostle for life. Beneath the towering Palo Rosa trees, some reaching up to 40 meters, thrives an animated world, from vividly beaked toucans, monkeys, squirrels, coatis, mountain foxes, and overo lizards. To elusive creatures like the jaguarete, the largest feline in the Americas. Caimans, snake-necked turtles, and countless species of fish glide through silent, mirror-like waters. While above, swifts and black vultures trace spirals between clouds and mist. More than 270 waterfalls plunge from heights of up to 80 meters, stretching nearly 3 kilometers across the Argentina-Brazil border, forming one of the most spectacular waterfall systems on Earth. At the heart of it all lies the Garganta del Diablo, the Devil's Throat, a U-shaped chasm where the river turns ferocious, dragging with it thick mist and rainbows that shimmer in the sunlight. The scene once left Spanish explorer Alvar Núñez Cabeza de Vaca speechless when he encountered it in 1541. He became the first European to record Iguazú in his work La Relación, describing not only the landscape, but also the customs of the indigenous people. Rare ethnographic records that survived the tide of South American colonization. From above, from below, from within the flow, Iguazú offers 6 trails to discover its grandeur. Steel walkways stretch across the rainforest to reach the Devil's Throat, where the waterfall plunges like a tear in the fabric of the universe. Or take the Macuco Trail, for those unafraid of getting lost, winding deep through the forest toward the Arachia Falls. From the forest floor, travelers can board eco-friendly boats through the jungle, while the skies belong only to the vultures and the swifts. There was once a time when this entire waterfall belonged to a single man. Jesus Val, a Uruguayan landowner, held the rights to this land in the 19th century, long before it was protected as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. But nature is not something one can own. No one can truly possess Iguazú, especially not when the river surges with over 1,500 cubic meters of water per second, and sometimes even more than 16 million liters every second. The falls vanish behind a curtain of white mist. The jungle fades, giving way to an entirely different world. Just a few hours by air, and the journey carries us from the wild heartbeat of nature to the romantic rhythm of a city built on art, memory, and passion. Buenos Aires, where the echo of heels on stone still conjures the soul of tango. A capital that is not only the political heart of Argentina, but also the cultural soul of South America. Between wide boulevards, vintage cafes, century-old theaters, and walls drenched in murals, Buenos Aires unfolds like a never-ending play. Located on the southern bank of the Rio de la Plata, Buenos Aires, the capital of the Argentine Republic, bears the name of a kind patron saint of sailors, Nuestra Señora Santa María del Buen Aire. Beyond its poetic origins, the city is revered as the birthplace of the passionate Argentine tango. The Spanish first arrived in the Rio de la Plata region in 1516, turning it into a colonial stronghold. Buenos Aires was founded in 1536 by Pedro de Mendoza, but was soon abandoned due to fierce resistance from indigenous communities. It wasn't until 1580 that the city was refounded and gradually rose to become the main port serving the mineral-rich provinces of the Andes. By 1776, Buenos Aires was named the capital of the Viceroyalty of the Rio de la Plata, and in 1880, it officially became the capital of Argentina. Thanks to its temperate climate, Buenos Aires has long lived up to its name, good air, a place of promise and refuge for waves of European immigrants. Today, it remains a cosmopolitan metropolis, home to a large population of European descent, particularly Italians and Spaniards. Spanish is the primary language spoken, and the city's port remains a vital link between the Andes and the rest of the world. Among the city's most unique architectural sites is Recoleta Cemetery, home to more than 7,000 intricately designed tombs belonging to the city's most illustrious families. These resting places commemorate former heads of state, military heroes, wealthy elites, and cultural icons. The most visited is the black marble tomb of Evita Perón, second wife of President Juan Perón, a national symbol, always adorned with fresh flowers and surrounded by visitors drawn by her enduring legacy. But Buenos Aires is more than monuments in memory. After sunset, when the marble mausoleums of Recoleta fall into shadow and the cobblestones of San Telmo start to hum, the true soul of the city begins to stir, set to the unmistakable rhythm of tango. In the dimly lit bars, brothels, and working-class neighborhoods of late 19th century Buenos Aires, a new form of music began to emerge, haunting, raw, and filled with longing. It was a reflection of the city itself, a chaotic mosaic of immigrants from Europe, Afro-Argentine communities, and criollos from the Pampas. They brought their stories, their sadness, their fire, and together, they created a rhythm that couldn't be tamed. In the beginning, tango was forbidden in polite society. It belonged to the poor, to the outsiders. But curiosity is contagious, and soon, the children of the wealthy were sneaking into the milongas, the underground dance halls, captivated by the sensuality and spontaneity of the dance. By the 1920s, tango had already crossed the Atlantic, seducing Paris before storming the stages of Europe and North America. Yet what the world embraced was only a polished version, ballroom tango, rigid and formal. Back home in Argentina, the real tango still pulsed in the back streets, closer to a whispered confession than a choreographed show. Then came the golden age. From the 1930s to the early 1950s, tango exploded in Buenos Aires. Orchestras led by legends like Carlos Gardel, Aníbal Troilo, and Juan D'Arienzo filled smoky dance halls with swelling melodies from the bandoneon. Couples glided across the floor in a tight embrace, communicating not with words, but through the subtle tension of a shoulder, a shift of weight, a held breath. Military rule, curfews, and cultural repression in the mid-20th century pushed tango back into the margins. It never disappeared, but like a wounded animal, it lay quiet, waiting. For decades, it survived in whispers, at small neighborhood parties, family gatherings, late-night radio shows, until something unexpected happened. Europe brought tango back to life. In the 1980s, stage shows like Tango Argentino reignited global fascination. Young Argentines, inspired by their grandparents' steps and foreign admiration, returned to the dance. They studied the old styles, the forgotten codes. And in the crowded milongas of Buenos Aires, tango was reborn, not as nostalgia, but as a living ritual. A milonga is not a performance, It's a pulse. In a city that never sleeps, these gatherings are sacred. The music plays, the ronda begins, and dancers, some of whom have practiced for decades, move like water, weaving through the crowd without ever colliding. Leaving Buenos Aires, the journey heads north into the wild heart of Jujuy. Just a few hours' drive from the city of Salta, the road winds into Purmamarca and the Quebrada de Humahuaca Valley, where the landscape begins to shift, igniting in shades of red and blazing gold. A canyon cuts across the Andes, revealing a history that stretches back 10,000 years. The walls of Quebrada de Humahuaca rise like frozen waves, shaped by wind and water over millennia. Beneath them, the Rio Grande still flows, slow, determined, wearing down rock with the quiet patience of time. This valley was never just a landscape. It was a route, a corridor, a lifeline. Long before asphalt or borders, caravans walked this path, carrying obsidian, stories, salt, and songs. Every stone has felt the footsteps of empires, from ancient hunter-gatherers to the Incas, and later, the Spanish crown. Today, as the journey begins in Purmamarca, a village where the past never really left. The first thing to strike the eye, a hill painted by the earth itself. The hill of 7 colors, stripes of pink, ochre, jade, violet, each one a different chapter in geological time. At sunrise, the mountain glows. Locals say it changes throughout the day, and it's true, it never looks the same twice. Below it, narrow streets coil around a dusty plaza where a colonial church has stood since 1648. The air smells of dust, eucalyptus, and freshly baked corn empanadas. The market here is no tourist setup. It's a living rhythm. Wool dyed with cochineal beetles, herbs for everything from altitude sickness to heartache. Carvings of the Pachamama, Mother Earth, sold beside plastic toys and batteries. A little farther north lies Tilcara, home to a 1,000-year-old fortress perched on a cactus-covered hill. The Pucará de Tilcara offers more than ruins. It offers perspective. From its stone walls, the valley unfurls like a tapestry. Villages, farmland, red cliffs that blush in the afternoon light. Not far from there, giant agricultural terraces appear in the hills of Coctica. Built over 1,500 years ago, they're still used today, proving that sustainability isn't a modern idea, but an ancestral one. It's easy to miss them. Then comes Humahuaca. At nearly 3,000 meters above sea level, this town feels like the end of the road, and, somehow, the center of everything. The Independence Monument towers over the plaza, but it's the sound that stays with you. Church bells, laughter, a quena flute echoing down a sun-baked alley. In February, the town transforms. The carnival of Humahuaca erupts in color. Devils in mirrored masks dance through clouds of flour and confetti. This isn't a spectacle, it's a return to roots, to rebellion, to joy. Even the silence feels different here. Between town, the desert opens wide. Llamas graze on high plateaus. Condors circle in the thermals. The sky stretches so far, it stops being blue. It becomes presence. But just when it feels like there's nowhere higher to go, the road climbs again. Purmamarca already rests at 2,340 meters above sea level, yet beyond it lies something unexpected, a salt flat higher than the mountain village itself. The Salinas Grande salt flats hold more than just salt. They hold a delicate, ancient ecosystem shaped by time and elemental forces. Do you know that the people living near Salinas Grandes have been harvesting salt to sell for hundreds, if not thousands of years? For centuries, perhaps millennia, the people who live along its edges have harvested salt, guided not by machines, but by sun, wind, and memory. It begins with a simple act, digging shallow, rectangular pools about 4 meters long and 2 wide. These are crystallization ponds, designed to catch mineral-rich water from underground veins. When the dry season arrives, the sun begins its slow work. Evaporation pulls water skyward. It can take almost a year for a single pond to ripen, for the crystals to thicken, harden, and mature. Then the harvest begins. The top layer, fragile, soft, and damp, is gently removed. Beneath lies the real prize, dense, compacted salt, cut and lifted by hand, then left to dry under the open sky for weeks. No chemicals, no factories, just patience, precision, and an ancestral rhythm that has endured across generations. This isn't industrial, it's cultural, it's survival. And yet, this ecosystem is fragile, sensitive to even the smallest disruptions. The salt flats were formed by an intricate, ancient process of salinization in enclosed inland basins. Over vast geological time, wet and dry cycles caused water to evaporate and minerals to crystallize, layer by layer. Volcanic eruptions added further complexity, scattering additional minerals across the basin. A natural artwork, sculpted by water, wind, and time. Summers can reach 28 degrees Celsius, but it's the violent contrast between day and night that defines the rhythm of life here. Winters dip below freezing. Rainfall is scarce, just 300 to 400 millimeters per year. And when storms finally arrive, they transform the landscape entirely. A shallow film of water spreads across the crust, turning the entire flat into a mirror of the sky, a dreamlike canvas reflecting clouds, stars, and mountains. It's this illusion that draws travelers, cameras, and awe. But for the people of Salinas Grandes, salt is more than scenery. It's a lifeline. Long before tourism, trade caravans crossed this shimmering plain, following ancient routes through the Andes. And today, every pond dug into the earth is more than a pit of minerals. It is a living archive of climate, tradition, and endurance. A record carved by hand and preserved by will. Science still struggles to explain the perfect polygonal patterns that stretch across the surface. Some say they form when the crust cracks under heat. But their geometric symmetry, so precise, so surreal, remains a mystery. Like much of Salinas Grande, its truth lies somewhere between the physical and the sacred. Leaving behind the blinding white salt flats of Salinas Grande, the journey drifts southward. Who would have imagined that, deep in this arid desert, a hidden wine oasis would await? Welcome to Cafayate, the heart of northern Argentina's wine country, a well-kept secret nestled among sun-scorched valleys and red earth. This is where the landscape begins to change. The air turns drier, the soil reddens, and wind and sunlight have etched a geological memory into every ridge and valley. At an altitude of around 1,680 meters, Cafayate greets the sun like an old companion. Here, vineyards stretch far and wide, rooted in dry air and sandy soil, thriving against the odds in this thin, high-altitude atmosphere. Cafayate is most famed for its Torrontés, Argentina's signature white grape. It flourishes in the dry climate, where hot days and chilly nights create dramatic temperature swings. Cool winds from the Andes preserve the nighttime cold, while days remain cloudless and intensely bright, with humidity close to zero. These extremes produce grapes of exceptional character, thick-skinned, richly flavored, and intensely aromatic. Torrontés wine here shimmers with a warm golden hue, carrying delicate notes of orange blossom, lychee, pineapple, and citrus zest. Its acidity is refreshing, its finish clean and lingering, a perfect match for a blazing summer afternoon. But more than a drink, it is a living embodiment of altitude, soil, and soul, a bottled reflection of this rugged highland land. Wineries here still embrace an intimate tasting culture, often set among dusty vines with the mountains standing watch in the distance. Unlike Mendoza, Cafayate remains quiet, unspoiled, and profoundly authentic. In addition to Torrontés, local vineyards cultivate Malbec, Cabernet Sauvignon, and Tannat, yielding deep reds with complex textures. Malbec from Cafayate is dark and robust, with notes of black fruit, vanilla, and a smoky finish. Cabernet Sauvignon here is rich and spicy, bursting with ripe red berries and a long, elegant aftertaste. Since the late 20th century, Cafayate has been officially recognized as a distinct geographical indication within the Salta wine region, a proud mark of its unique terroir, displayed on every bottle like a seal of heritage. Yet Cafayate's charm is not only found in its wines, but in its graceful town center, wrapped around a colonial plaza where life moves gently. At its heart, the Church of Our Lady of the Rosary glows in the sunlight, a quiet sentinel of this vinous land. Just minutes from town, travelers can enter a dramatically different world, Quebrada de las Conchas. This natural gorge lies within the Calchaquí Valley, where rock walls blaze in crimson and amber. Carved over millions of years by the winds and the Las Conchas River, the canyon reveals surreal rock formations, nature's own cathedral of stone. Along Route 68, the lifeline of Quebrada, every turn unveils a geological wonder. Each rock structure shifts in color with the light, from deep red to soft gold. The wind whispers through the canyons like the ancient music of the land itself. Just 10 kilometers from Cafayate, visitors can trek to the Rio Colorado Springs, a hidden world of natural pools and waterfalls tucked among the rocks. The trail winds through raw terrain, where stone, water, and wild grasses intertwine in silence. Here in the hush of Quebrada, time slows and the senses awaken to something deeper, older. Quebrada de las Conchas is not just scenery, it is the dramatic continuation of the land that gives life to Toronto. Here, stone meets vine, wind meets sun, red soil meets the golden scent of wine. But is Cafayate the only place in Argentina where wine speaks through the land? Hardly. When most people think of Argentine wine, one name rises above all: Mendoza, the undisputed capital of South American winemaking. Set on the eastern edge of the Andes, Mendoza rises like a living city in the desert, where water, sunlight, and stone conjure the quiet miracle of life. This is not a city that shouts. It breathes slowly, as if even time pauses to sip the golden light spilling across terracotta rooftops. Beneath tree-lined boulevards, Mendoza speaks in whispers, the rustling of dry leaves, the scent of ripening grapes, and the hush of wind sweeping in from the mountains. Where snow often cloaks jagged peaks, and the plains lie cracked and arid, everything here is the result of nature's ruthless selection. Mendoza doesn't need to be loud, because silence, in this land, is seductive. You listen. To the echo of hoofbeats on dusty paths, to the music of vineyards stretching far beyond the horizon. And then, as you round a sunlit valley, Mendoza reveals its true identity, the wine capital of South America. Over 76% of Argentina's vineyards are planted here. Not a boast, just a fact whispered by the wines themselves. Fed by glacial melt from Mount Aconcagua, the tallest peak in the Americas, each drop of water seeps into the soil and quietly gives life to grapes shaped by extremes. Aconcagua is the highest mountain in the Americas, rising to 6,961 meters above sea level in the Argentine Andes. Often called the roof of the Western Hemisphere, it stands as a silent guardian over the arid landscapes of Mendoza province. The mountain draws climbers from around the world, offering both a physical challenge and breathtaking alpine views. Its summit, covered in snow and ice, can be reached without technical climbing gear via the normal route. Across Valle de Uco, Luján de Cuyo, and Maipú, wineries rise like modern temples, where tradition embraces innovation. Some use century-old concrete vats. Others age their wines in French oak barrels. But all chase the same goal: purity, depth, and truth in every bottle. This is why Mendoza doesn't just make wine. It creates experiences. Here, travelers cycle through vineyards that never seem to end, pause under the midday sun, and taste wine steps away from where it was born. A glass of Mendoza Malbec, deep violet, with whispers of black plum and violets, can stop you in your tracks as the Andes blaze red at sunset. It isn't just a drink. It's a welcome, silent but profound. In northeastern Argentina, where water shapes the land, the Ibera wetlands unfold like a living tapestry of sky, reeds, and slow-moving streams. This vast wilderness spans more than 13,000 square kilometers, making it one of the largest freshwater ecosystems in South America. Its name, Ibera, means shining waters in the Guarani language, a fitting tribute to the way sunlight dances across its surface. Capybaras graze the flooded grasslands at dawn, their silhouettes framed by palm trees and golden mist. Yacaré caimans lie still beneath lily pads, their open jaws catching the morning heat like silent guardians of the marsh. Overhead, spoonbills and ibis return to their roosts, stitching vibrant lines across the pastel sky. Beneath this serene beauty lies a powerful story of ecological rebirth. Just 3 decades ago, Ibarra was a forgotten place, overgrazed, hunted, and stripped of many native species. The jaguar had vanished, the giant anteater had disappeared, and much of the balance had been lost. Then came a vision, led by Doug and Christine Tompkins, to rewild Ibarra and return it to its original rhythm. They began buying land from cattle ranchers, not to develop, but to restore. Inspired by Yellowstone's success in reintroducing wolves, they wondered, could the jaguar come home again? Rewilding efforts expanded quickly, from pampas deer to collared peccaries, from giant otters to tapirs. San Alonso Island became the heart of this mission, where jaguars were raised in near-wild conditions. In 2021, the first wild-born jaguar cubs were spotted in the park, a milestone that echoed across the conservation world. Today, Ibarra is not only a refuge for wildlife, but also for travelers seeking something rare and meaningful. From the town of Colonia Carlos Pellegrini, boat tours glide through labyrinthine channels rich with birdlife. Horseback rides along old ranch trails revive the spirit of the Criollo gauchos who once called this land home. At the Carambola Gate, even horse-drawn canoe trips are offered, blending tradition and discovery. By evening, the wetlands shimmer like liquid metal, and the air fills with birdsong and the low call of deer in the reeds. Local communities, once dependent on ranching, now thrive through nature-based tourism and artisan crafts. Each journey into Ibarra becomes part of a larger cycle, not just of nature, but of hope and restoration. In Ibarra, to witness the return of the wild is to believe in second chances, not just for animals, but for humanity too. Is there anywhere else where you can ski in the morning, go trekking by late afternoon, and end the day with a cup of hot chocolate by the fireplace? The answer might just lie on a slope in Bariloche, where classical music drifts in the air and the scent of freshly baked pastries lingers. Here, memories don't need to be distant. They live in cobblestone streets, in flower-filled cafes, and in the sweetness that melts on your tongue. Nestled in the forested mountains of northern Patagonia, Bariloche feels like a slice of Europe that has drifted to South America. The city rests along the shores of Lake Nahuahuapi, whose crystal waters reflect snow-capped peaks in the distance. Nicknamed the Switzerland of Argentina, Bariloche breathes the alpine spirit, from wooden chalets and steep-roofed churches to winding roads that disappear into the woods. Could it be that this is a forgotten corner of Switzerland, carried southward by time? Since the late 19th century, German immigrants brought not only their architecture, but also their culture, beer, pastries, and the art of chocolate making. Today, Bariloche is known as the chocolate capital of Argentina, home to dozens of artisanal chocolate shops like Mamushka, Rapa Nui, and Benroth. During Easter, the entire city immerses itself in the chocolate festival, where a multi-meter-long chocolate egg becomes the sweet symbol of the season. But Bariloche is more than that. It's a four-season paradise where each moment of the year offers a unique, unforgettable beauty. In winter, Bariloche wears a pure white coat of snow and becomes the most famous ski destination in South America. The Cerro Catedral Ski Resort attracts everyone from seasoned pros to first-timers eager to try the slopes. Every ridge and hillside seems made to welcome skis and the echo of laughter on soft snow. When the snow melts, summer unveils a completely different Bariloche, sunny, breezy, and threaded with endless trekking trails. Forest paths wind through Coihu and lenga trees, leading hikers higher and higher, where the air thins and emerald lakes appear out of nowhere. Hikers, bikers, and nature lovers come from all over, seeking a peaceful corner of Patagonia during the sunlit months. One unmissable spot is Cerro Campanario, which National Geographic once named among the top 10 views in the world. From its summit, you can gaze out over a panorama of lakes, islands, and mountains that seem painted onto the horizon. All it takes is a cold beer and a windless afternoon to sit in silence for hours. And of course, there's Lake Nahuel Huapi, not only a mirror of the sky and mountains, but the very heart of Bariloche. Lake Nahuel Huapi stretches at the city's feet, its clear waters mirroring the jagged silhouettes of surrounding peaks. Forests of Coihu and lenga sweep across the slopes, forming a sanctuary for pumas, condors, and the elusive Andean deer. Bariloche's story is etched in its architecture, Alpine-style chalets nestled alongside Patagonian traditions, echoing the layered past of European settlers and native communities. Hidden deep within the heart of Patagonia lies an ancient forest, where time seems to stand still. Los Alerces National Park is more than a landscape. It's a living testament to the endurance of nature. Here, towering Alerce trees have stretched skyward for over 3,000 years. They are silent giants, witnesses to ice ages and the slow turning of history. Surrounded by mountain ranges, they have withstood blizzards, wildfires, and the footprints of humankind. Beneath their millennia-old canopy, sunlight filters through like shimmering fragments of memory. Lake Futalofquen lies cradled in the valley, reflecting snow-capped peaks like a giant mirror. Its deep blue waters are so still that every ripple feels sacred. Meltwater streams wind through the ancient forest, tracing paths carved over countless centuries. Each drop of water seems to carry the breath of ancient glaciers. This is where the last pumas of Patagonia still hunt silently in the shadows. High above, Andean condors soar with outstretched wings, searching for life across this timeless land. In forest clearings, the elusive huemul, a rare native deer, grazes like a remnant from a prehistoric world. The ecosystem moves slowly, patiently, as if rejecting the haste of the modern age. There is no city noise here, no machine-cut scars, only the sound of water lapping gently at the rocky shore. And the wind, forever whispering through every leaf and branch. On early mornings, mist drifts low between the tree trunks, creating scenes as dreamlike as fairy tales. There is something sacred in the Allur's forest, as if every trunk holds a secret it quietly keeps. When golden sunlight slants through the woods at dusk, the entire forest glows with silent reverence. Narrow trails lead deeper into the forest, where human footprints fade, giving way to untouched wilderness. Local indigenous communities once called this place where the spirits hide among the roots. Not every place allows you to see time, but in Los Alerces, you truly can. Tree roots wrap around ancient stones. The canopy arches above like a natural vault of memory. Every step in this forest feels like touching a living heritage. Who will live longer, humans or the Allur's trees? What has allowed them to survive 3 millennia? Along the border between Argentina and Chile, a wild world awaits discovery. Lanin National Park is not only a natural wonder, it is a cultural treasure, nestled in the heart of Patagonia's mystical landscape. What secrets lie hidden beneath the snow-capped volcano? Mount Lanin, standing nearly 3,800 meters tall, rises like a silent challenge to nature itself. Ancient glaciers still trickle down its flanks, whispering stories of an ice age long gone. This is not just the tallest peak in the region, it is the sacred heart of the local Mapuche beliefs. Have you ever wondered what it feels like to stand on the side of a dormant volcano, gazing out over the endless forest of the Andean Patagonian range? At the mountain's feet lies Lake Huechulavquén, a glacial jewel stretching over 30 kilometers, where the reflection of Mount Lanin dances on every ripple. The trails that wind around its shores lead not only through thick woods, but into a rare kind of stillness, one only found deep in the wild. Step into a fairy tale forest where ancient trees, araucarias, roble oaks, raleigh beeches stand with bark rough as old memory. Their trunks seem to hold untold stories, and their branches, reaching skyward, resemble arms trying to touch the divine. Among them, the Mapuche people have lived for generations, forging a bond between nature and spirit that cannot be separated. Each ring within these thousand-year-old trunks tells of climate shifts and ancestral lessons. The bark bears traces of Mapuche rituals. The amber sap glows like frozen prayers. When night falls, the echo of the Carpintero Negro, guardian of the forest, joins the murmured chants in Mapudungun around the fire, creating an eternal symphony of life. To the Mapuche, these araucarias are not just trees, they are Nyen Mapu, the spirits and stewards of the land. To protect them is not a duty, but a sacred coexistence. They harvest pine cones in accordance with Admapu, the traditional code, always leaving a share for the spiritual world. For every shadow cast by a branch is seen as a bridge between humans and Genetchen, the creator. And above all, they live by the wisdom of Itrophil Mongan, that all forms of life are inseparable. When an araucaria falls, the Mapuche do not mourn a lost tree. They hold the Ngillatun ceremony to give thanks for a life completed, knowing that its decaying body will nurture fungi, insects, and the forest yet to come. They say Argentina is a world in one country. But just across the Andes lies something stranger, sharper, older. A land carved by salt, wind, and time. Next episode, Chile, the spine of a continent,